Welcome to Bella Podcast. Pandemic. Just got out, sister. When looking at the car and the driver's outfit, Dan Ann guessed who this girl was. Adding to calling her that, the whole city is just that person. That's Sand. I also worked last night. She pretended to ask, even though she knew that this girl always worked at night, not alternating days and nights like her. Kat is a beautiful girl. Eye-catching white skin, along with delicate facial features, always attract the attention of the opposite sex. Kat's body is slim, but it also has enough curves to evoke beauty. Charming. Sand is about 3 years younger than Dan Ann. Both lived almost in the suburbs before moving to the city center for studying and working like now. So, Kat knows the childhood name that friends often tease Dan Ann. Ms. Dan always comes home, doesn't she? Looks like you're not driving. I'm back too. I always carry you. Normally, Dan Ann would refuse. But today the sluggishness of her body made her temporarily put aside her prejudices. She has no sympathy for Kat. If not somewhat disdain for the stories she heard buzzing around Kat. Kat works as a receptionist in a hotel near Dan Ann's hospital. The kind of hotel that people now call a hotel or a love hotel. Dan Ann also heard a few bad rumors that even avoiding Kat, and in front of others, he did not seem familiar with her even though her small house was located right next to the motel room. Sand is in. On the way back, Kat seemed to talk a lot about the epidemic, and then did not forget to review the story in the suburbs before. Dan Ann hummed to let it go. Partly because she didn't like Sand, partly because her mind was really blank, as if something was spinning inside, not her usual brain. Until then, Dan Ann suddenly felt dry and coughed for a few hours. Are you unwell, Ms. Dan? No, I'm just thirsty. What are you talking about? Well, I was just talking about the man who rented the room next to her house. According to Kat, that man's name was Kai. He was probably in his 20s and was a prostitute. Dan Ann continued to listen to Kat talk about him in simple language and many unpleasant stories. Like when Sand worked as a receptionist in a hotel, she saw Kai enter there with a lady who must be no less than 50. But the way he caressed and said affectionate words. When Sand worked as a receptionist in a hotel, she saw Kai enter there with a lady who must be no less than 50. But the way he caressed and said affectionate words made Kat want to vomit. Let me down here.